Well, welcome everyone to Portsmouth's Coffee Talks Evening Edition show. I'm James Overton, and here with co-hosts Leah Drake Stitt and Thomas the Colonel Chapman. Hello.
All right.
Hello
Now.
there.
Yeah, thanks, Leah. I knew you would be on. You know, I know how it is. You had to come from work and you have to do all these things.
Coming and running. Coming and running. And
I know it.
I lost my coffee talk background for some reason. I don't know what happened.
Oh my goodness, but that's okay. As long as we got you.
Okay.
That's good enough. Welcome. But welcome again, everyone. And we have a reoccurring guest here. She's a school board member, Yolanda Edmonds Thomas. And good evening, Ms. Thomas. How you doing?
Good evening. So good to join y'all again. I love talking to y'all. So how y'all doing?
Oh, we're doing great. And I think this is about your third time on. And the first time you came, you were running for school board.
Yep.
And the second time you were a school board member and you talked about, well, the first time you talked about your vision and things you wanted to do, really explaining your platform. And then you came on as a school board member. You've been on there for, I guess, about a year at that time, and talked about, the things that you were doing, to fulfill the promises you made on your platform, which you dive right into it. So we have you back here again to talk about many other things, but especially a project that you talked about when you came on when you were running. And we'll let you tell that story again briefly, how you got into this particular part of it, being with some of your friends and their kids, and what you noticed that their kids were doing that you said, wow, and it sort of brought you into, and I'll name it the dual language immersion program.
Absolutely. Mr. Overton, you have a really good memory of that whole story. And I don't
I
mind.
went back and looked at the tape.
Oh, okay. You have a good memory.
I still have a good memory, though.
That was my catalyst to really decide to go into public service and run for school board. I had, I have children. Before I was in the school board, my children were already in Portsmouth Public Schools. And I talking to different friends that have kids in northern parts of Virginia, North Carolina, Boston, Maryland, all their kids were bilingual. And we have kids around the same age. So some teenagers, some elementary, and they all were really fluent in another language. And I'm talking about African-American kids. Their parents, only one of their parents did not speak a second language, but all of their children were bilingual. And when I started questioning, like, well, how did they learn a second language at their young age? I found out that it was a curriculum and part of their public schools. And none of them are in private school. They all were in public schools. So that's what really started my interest in, like, wait, what is dual language? What is this? What is dual language immersion? And then the question was, why don't we have it in Portsmouth? And so that was part of when I ran back in 2020, the year of COVID, was one of the pieces that I wanted to bring to Portsmouth. And the whole reason was, like, I didn't think it was right that and that based on our area, we didn't have certain programs. And the more I looked into it, I realized that Virginia Beach, we had other similar districts in close proximity to us that had this. So why don't we? Why can't we? And that's been one of my main priorities, to make sure that we have an innovative programming and curriculum to offer our students at an early age, so that they have an equal opportunity as other students around the country and even in neighboring cities.
Now, I'll let the other hosts get in, but a lot of people, this program, some people might look at it, well, okay, they're going in and learn another language, but it's a lot more involved with this program as far as learning that language and developing other skills, at that young age. Talk a little bit about that. The other things that the other advantages of this program offers.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a learning as we've been looking into, as the entire board looking into how to bring this curriculum to Portsmouth. It's been learning and eye-opening. And of course, you hear about just a little bit about dual language immersion. There are different models, right? So starting in kindergarten, actually, our program is going to probably introduce kids in pre-K with just a little, not full immersion, but just like a little introduction to Spanish, like, numbers or alphabets. But starting in kindergarten, most of, we haven't decided on the model yet. I think we're talking about 80-20. So 80% of their day will be taught or 80% of their learning, I forgot how she explained it, will be taught in another language. So that means that students in kindergarten will be in math, but it's taught in another language. They will be in reading, but it's taught in another language. So 80% of their time learning is taught in that second language. So they're fully immersed. That's where language immersion comes from. It's not like you're just taking a language class, which is, we have a similar model. We have something like that right now in some of our schools like Brighton and so forth. But no, you're fully immersed in that classroom in that second language. And what we found out, some of the questions, I'll go back, some of the concerns were, well, will that impact literacy? Like for English, their main language, how would that impact, their English proficiency? What will that do for their assessments that they have to take? And all the data, I was trying to just jot down what our director of curriculum and instructor, she came back with us with the research to see if this was viable for Portsmouth. And all the research showed that in academic content, our DLI students outperform their peers in reading, writing, math, and science. In English proficiency, DLI students outperform their peers. In language development, they found that second language does not impede development of the first language. In terms of behavior, there's less behavior problems in schools once you introduce this program for students that are participating. And then when you talk about long-term college and career, students that speak a second language and have been a part of DLI are less likely to drop out and more likely to attend college. So those are just some of the key points that when our district was doing the research about how to bring this to Portsmouth, some of the factors that were presented to us. And that was eye-opening to not just myself, but a lot of board members that fully support this.
Okay, co-host.
Yeah, thanks for that introduction and nice little synopsis of how that second language is going to affect the kids going off to do whatever they're going to do after high school, and they're actually doing the effects of while they're in K through 12 or whatever. Mm-hmm. So the other impact, you had the statistics there, and since this program is new, and so you're going to do some longitudinal studies to see how the kids are going, and do you have any pushback from the parents out there saying, "Oh, my kids is working too hard"?
Well, we haven't. So this program does not roll out till 2024. So the 2024 school year is when it will be introduced. Right now, we're still doing basically the planning. So we're in the point of, we've selected the schools that this program is going to be in. So there's 3 locations, right? But it's going to be a lottery. Like, we're setting up the parameters for it. We're hiring the staff. And then we're also going to do some education and informational sessions with the public and parents and students, just to get the community excited and in the know. Basically, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions about it because, of course, it's new. So we don't have any pushback yet because it hasn't fully been rolled out. But I actually think that based on what we've seen in what I've seen personally in other districts is actually the reason they have to do a lottery is because so many people want to participate or have their children participate in a program like this, because they just realize the opportunity and doors that it opens once your child has access to a second language.
How's it
So
affect the SOLs?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Does it affect the SOLs?
No, they said so far, no. Assessments are the students that are participating in dual language immersion programs, they actually do as well or better than students that have not participated in dual language immersion.
So Yolanda, you said this is going to be a lottery process that's going to take place. And
Yes,
they've
yes.
identified the 3 schools in which they're going to roll this out in?
Yes, we have identified the 3 schools. So there are 3 sites, but then those sites, the surrounding schools, how can I say, schools within that location, students at those schools will have the opportunity to go to that school to participate in that program. So it's kind of like consider it like the host sites, right? So one of our host schools will be Simonsdale Elementary. Then we'll have Churchland Primary and Intermediate School, and then Brighton Elementary. But within, like, for example, Simonsdale Elementary, the surrounding participating schools will be that have the opportunity to apply for that school will be Hodges Manor, Lakeview, West Haven, and I think Victory.
And so those parents will be able to apply to the lottery. And should they win the lottery, then their student would be able to participate in the program.
Yes.
Now, have they identified how many children will be able to participate in each of the school programs?
I don't know that number yet. I don't think we've identified that yet, Ms. Leah, but because of this will be, and I don't want to speak too soon, but from what I understand from the presentation that we had presented at our last work session, where this map timeline and plan was rolled out, we don't have a number so far, but I believe it will be one kind of cohort per school. So probably whatever number of children can fit in that one cohort, that one class is what's going to happen, because we have to hire, and I'm not sure. I don't know. So I'm just talking about what was kind of initially explained to us. I don't know if we're going to be able to host more than one cohort per school location in the initial year. It just depends on our staffing availability, because one of the hardest parts of this is that you do have to hire, of course, a teacher that's bilingual and also licensed to teach elementary. So that's, I'm not going to say it's a needle in the haystack, but you limit your talent pool that you can pull from. But as we go through the years, we will hopefully be able to grow and expand, because that one class will have to continue as a class through the program up until, it probably high school when they go to their standard language courses.
And the child will be there all day, because their entire lesson
that's correct.
will incorporate the language immersion portion.
That's correct. Right. Okay. So if they get selected, even though maybe they're zoned for Hodges Manor, their school will be Simonsdale if they're selected.
Okay. Very good. Very good.
So what languages are you going to select?
Good question. We're doing Spanish because that's just the
dominant language.
Yeah, it's I don't want to say it's the easiest to find the talent pool, but for this area is what we found. So our director of curriculum instruction, she, after research and kind of looking at what it would be, she decided that Spanish would be the best language for us to start with our language immersion.
Yeah, probably it is because that is the dominant language that is spoken out here other than English in the world is Spanish. Everything is a subset of that. And so if you speak Spanish fluent, fluently, then you can probably go around the world and sort of
Absolutely. Absolutely.
you can order food at least.
Absolutely. I mean, I work in technology, of course, in cybersecurity right now, and the amount of emails that they're always looking for someone that, hey, do you speak a second language? We need assistance here. Or they're always looking for that. So you just open up the doors of opportunity by having a second language in your back pocket. I wish I had a, was bilingual. I know bare minimum from taking a few years at Norco, but that's it. That's where my Spanish stopped. So I'm excited personally that this is something that, yes, it was a idea of mine, but I want to stress that this doesn't happen without the full support of the board and our superintendent. And I'm just happy that our school board as a whole, from our chair, vice chair, every school member that I work with, that I serve with, and our superintendent has recognized what a great opportunity this is for our students. And what a great way that it just opens the doors for them in the future. And speaking as a parent personally, I feel that even though this is something new, and to your point, Colonel, we might get some questions and concerns from parents like, wait, I don't want my child to fall behind. But every parent, if you say, hey, this is not going to make your child fall behind, this is actually going to give them more opportunity. What parent doesn't want their child to have opportunity and exposure? So I'm excited for the positive of that aspect. And yeah.
You know, Yolanda, and it's so important that you begin immersing children into another language at an early age. Because when you wait to junior high and high school, it's a little late. It's a little
Exactly.
late, and they're just not tuned to learning the language then. I felt so badly when my daughter was in before coming to public school. She was in private school, and they had started her in German, and they were doing a great job with teaching those babies German. These were little people. They weren't even of school age at that time. But I look at how much she was able to get out of those classes and what she was able to give back to us when she came in. So it is the right time to start them when they're young children, because we are not just an English speaking country anymore. The world, you're a part of this entire world, and you have to be able to fit into the entire world. It reminds me of I was in Africa, and the children were learning English. Little babies in the
Exactly.
elementary school.
That's a standard in other countries,
Every
like
country, kids
other
speak
countries.
multiple
Yes.
languages. They speak multiple native languages, and then they speak other languages as well.
Exactly.
And
So
then
our students can too, right?
exactly, if they can do it, and to see what they had to use in order to learn this language. They had a little squawk box that the kids listened to, and I could barely understand what the person was saying, but they listened to it and they had to repeat it daily, and that's how they were learning another language. So everyone else puts a lot of value on their children being able to be able to speak many
Exactly.
languages, and we need to do the same here.
Absolutely, Ms. Leah. Ms. Steph, that's absolutely right. Like, we don't need to put what we think our limitations are on our students. Like,
Exactly.
so I agree with you 100%. Just expanding our own kind of, looking beyond what we think they're capable of, and just say, you know what, they're capable of a lot more. Just if you look at, to your point about starting children early, just look at the amount of learning that a baby is able to just
Exactly.
do. And that's why, to your point, it's important to start early. I do have one friend who her husband is bilingual. So one parent spoke one language fully in the house, and the other parent spoke English the full time. And that's how the child learned. They just they
They
didn't have a
right away.
curriculum, they just learned. And some of our even ESL students, you think about some of our ESL students, so English as a second language students, that maybe come over in elementary school at a higher, maybe second grade. I had one of my son's classmates did not speak English fluently. And I talked to his mother one time, and she said that he learned just by being in the school and being around peers, but he
Exactly.
also learned faster because he would watch cartoons
Mm-hmm.
in English, but with the Spanish caption on. And
Mm-hmm.
so as a child, they could just pick up things that as as we get older, it's just harder to pick up. So
Exactly.
introducing our students earlier, I cannot wait to see how this first, class just amazes us because I've seen it. We can go, I mean, we can go over to Virginia Beach. We can go over to Newport News. They all have dual language immersion.
Mm-hmm.
They've had it for many years as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Portsmouth will be joining, especially in this region, other districts that already have this type of program and have expanded it to all of their schools, have expanded it to multiple languages as well. So it's time for Portsmouth as well.
It
Why not?
is. It is. And
Yeah.
Yolanda, I'm gonna let you kind of jump in. I'm just say one thing first. When I was in charge of DARE for the sheriff's department,
Mhm.
one of my deputies um, was of Hispanic background. And when he would teach the DARE class, he always would teach the children something in Spanish.
Yes.
And it was just so interesting. The kids would come out and they were so excited because they
Yes.
had learned a new Spanish word for that day. And they were just excited to have him to come in as a teacher. Because not only
Mhm.
did he teach the DARE lesson in English, he gave it to them in Spanish as well. And the
Yes.
children enjoyed the classes immensely.
Absolutely. Children love learning. They love learning new things that
Exactly.
they love being exposed to new things. So I think it's going to be great
I
as we
think you're
continue to
right.
kind of work this out to be ready for the 2024 school year.
That's
So
amazing.
mhm.
Glad to
You
hear it.
know, Yolanda, let me ask you, you think as this program gains traction, that at some point it might be a line item on the budget, to get the extra funding for it? Because I noticed that Fairfax County, they offer, and they probably have been in the program much longer, but they
Mhm.
offer
Yes.
about 5 different
Yeah, they do.
languages.
They have French, Spanish. My
Yes.
friend that I was
Arabic,
referencing,
so
her two children are in Fairfax Public Schools. So yes, she was one of the friends I was talking about. And of course, they're a large school district, but they've
yes, yeah,
had it,
must be,
they've had it for a long, long time. But yes, I
yeah,
hope that
and
it's a line item for the budget. We're going to need the money for the extra staff.
Mhm.
So yes, why not?
yeah,
Yeah.
especially for this area when you have so many different cultures, and it gives the children as they move along in their education more opportunities. One of
Mhm.
my basketball friends, his daughter, has been working in France. So she was very proficient in French when she was in high school. Of course, she didn't get it into high school. She was just one of those exceptional students. Let me ask you, do you know of any other Hampton Roads cities that have this program, or looking at this program, or will Portland
Yeah.
be a model for
Mhm.
No,
for the
no.
other Hampton Roads cities?
No, so like I mentioned earlier, Virginia Beach has had this program for years, and Newport News has had it for a few years. And Newport News actually was the recipient of a grant. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but a federal grant that I don't want to. It was in the millions of dollars that they received money towards their dual language immersion program. And then Virginia Beach, they've had it certainly, I would say it's probably been close to 10 years they've had their program. So this is not like
Nope.
new. And even the state of
Mhm.
Virginia has now, because it's so widespread, they
Mhm.
even have with the Virginia Department of Education a dual language immersion guide for districts. So Portsmouth is not, unfortunately, we're not, the groundbreaking district here, but we are groundbreaking in that we're not the last one. We're
Exactly.
right on the early end of it for
Mhm.
the Hampton Roads area, which that's why we want to be. We want to be groundbreaking. We want to be innovative. We want to be one of the first districts to completely roll this out. So we're not the first. There's other established districts within our own Hampton Roads region that have it, but we're also not the last, and we're not even the middle. So we're doing pretty well. And I would say from that perspective. And I also want to add, when you asked did other school districts have it, I have to shout out our director of curriculum and instruction, Dr. Nicole DeVries. Dr. Nicole DeVries came on, I think, last year,
Mhm.
So not to, you know, as under Dr. Bracy, and she came from Virginia Beach, and what part of her experience was overseeing the dual language immersion program at Virginia Beach. Now she wasn't at the, I don't think she started it, but she was in charge of overseeing it, and so she brings a lot of experience with the
Mhm.
programs to Portsmouth. So that's why she's been able to kind of come in and just develop this outline and timeline for the board to approve and review. That happened, just with her within her coming on board last year. So I'm really glad that she heard the priority, that she took it upon herself to do the research to provide kind of the outline to remove any barriers that might have been of a concern. And she's been a wealth of knowledge that she's brought from Virginia Beach to our board.
Wonderful.
Hmm.
That's great.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have a question. You
Yes.
talk about you're going to need money, and that's the root of, as they say, from some folks, that's the root of all evil because you need money. So, do you have any advocates on city council that is ready to spring up there and try to assist the movement towards what you're trying to get done? And do you see if any of them? Do you have any folks that are out there that all of a sudden they want to be a budget hawk?
Well,
You
we've
see,
already approved we're going into our next budget cycle right now. So I I don't know about, that'll come out when we are going through the budget cycle. I
Mhm.
do believe that education is a priority, I hope, for all of our city council members. And, we have some city council members that have come from the school board and understand the priority for, the schools. Schools cannot raise their own money. We can't raise taxes. We don't collect taxes. So we
Mhm.
depend on money from the state and as well as from the city. So um, I don't know about any pushback because we're just starting our budgeting process right now. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. And I am actually planning to run for city council. So I do hope that if elected, that if I'm elected, that people understand that I've been on the school board, understand the needs of the schools, and education is one of my top priorities. So yeah.
And Yolanda, your term is up on the school board when, my darling?
Now this is my term
Thank
ends.
you. I would like for you to say that, okay?
Okay, absolutely.
You serve your full
I
term
served my
on the
full
school board.
term, and I will say, um, part of me, I think I've shared with you all before, not only in my background, my degrees in chemical engineering, but my professional work background mainly is in project manager in certain areas of risk. And as a project manager, I can't get rid of this feeling that I can't leave things undone that I
Exactly.
have said. Like I look at things like a project. So timelines, goals, objectives, I have to have them done. And I just could not run early, just personally, because I had to make sure this was done and going to be done and presented and ready for students to participate in this program before I consider, because you're not promised, you're promised the one term that you serve. So
Exactly.
you have to make the best use and time of that term to make sure that what you said you were going to do, you do. And again, I said this, but I have to give kudos and props to the board, the chair, the superintendent. I could say this all I want, but without the whole full support and majority vote of a board and the support of the superintendent, Dr. Bracy, and I lean on our chair, Cardell Patillo, a lot for his expertise. And, he's the president of the VSBA. um, I lean on our board completely to get things done. So this is not I wanted to get it done, but this is something I brought to the to my, when I was running. I hate the word campaign, but this is something I bought when I was running. But it takes a village. It takes a team to get things done. So yes, I've served my whole term, and I'm very happy. You always want to do more, but I'm very happy that the things that I said I would do, I've done, and we've done
Yeah,
as a board.
You came with a
Yolanda,
goal.
Yolanda and Leah, thanks for mentioning that because I think people really need to know
They need
that
to
she
hear
has
that.
served their full term. It's
Yes.
been some, not controversy, but sometimes, so I'm glad you mentioned that. And I'd like to mention too that quite a few of your board members are watching, so
Oh, okay.
I'm sure they'll
Shout
support
out
you.
to all of
I,
them,
I,
and my
I want
former
to ask,
board member too. I got to shout out my former board
yeah,
member that I also served with, Vernon Tillage. So they all were. This is not like this just happened. It was a lot of moving parts. Now, I want to say one more thing though.
go ahead. You have time.
We all, as you all know, we had COVID, right?
Hmm.
I wish this could have happened sooner, but we were dealing with COVID, and our priority was we ran a 2020, so my term technically started January 1, 2021. Our goal was first, initially for those first 2 years, bringing the students and staff back safely, and then kind of getting a idea of where we were in terms of learning loss and making sure that we set a plan to address learning loss. There was no time or I guess priority to implement new programs. We had to kind of restabilize where our students were. So there was our board is bright. They have a lot of great ideas, but for the first, I would say 2 years in my term was about stabilization, and just bringing everyone back safe and dealing with a pandemic and that we hadn't dealt with in my lifetime. So,
Yeah. It's a lot of other great things that's going on in our school system and that people might not know goes under the radar except for the parents and people that are really interested in what goes on in the school board. If you want to talk about that, this is a good time for that. And also, you can talk about how important it is with all the programs within the school system how important it is for the parents to really be involved.
Involved. Yes.
They are really key to a lot of these programs being successful, especially that language emergence program. The
oh,
parents have
absolutely.
to step up to the plate.
Dual language, I'm going to get to that. So, yes, a lot of good things happen in Portsmouth, but one thing you just mentioned was the parent responsibility. And another component of dual language immersion that we haven't discussed fully, like to flesh it out, but once you're selected, unless there's like extenuating circumstances, like you move out of the area, you're really committing yourself to going through the program because you're basically your child will be starting in kindergarten and taking that spot and committing to saying from kindergarten on through that we're going to continue on. So it will take the parent commitment. Now, like I said, I have friends that children have participated in language immersion in their school districts and they don't speak a second language. So it's not so much that the parent needs to understand the language, the parent just needs to support the student as they're going through the program. And support can be you're just reading a book, but in your main language in English.
Mhm.
You're not having to like learn Spanish along with your student. It'll be great if you do, but that's not a requirement. But it does take parental dedication and commitment to ensuring that your child completes the dual language immersion track, right? And then to some other parts about what's happening in Portsmouth. Before we went live, we were talking about, my son, he's a freshman in high school and he's excited about starting first college. And I was bragging on the fact that with TCC, I think last year during graduation, we found out that Portsmouth had the highest number of graduating students from TCC's first
Mhm.
college. And that's where our students are receiving their associate's degree before they even graduate from high school. So that's amazing. And we continue to grow that program. And, um, I've learned as a parent as well, it's not easy for the students to do it. It takes a lot of work and dedication. They're learning their main studies and getting acclimated to high school, but also having to get acclimated to college. But we have some great staff and great support to ensure our students are successful if that's what they choose to do. We are, of course, the most exciting thing. I think I saw when our board chair, Cardell Patillo, talked about it, and we've had board member Shumake as well talk about this, which is very exciting. It's our, new CTE building that will be opening up. Also, I believe 2024. Yep, 2024. It's going to be at the old DAC. Across from the old. Wait, I can't see you all. I can.
Yeah, well, the focus is on you right now. You're here. You're here.
So it's going to be at the old what is it called, DAC Center. And that's exciting. We'll be expanding what we already have through our partnership with TCC, so that therefore more students can participate. We talked about the idea that not only will it be able to serve our students, but maybe it'll be able to also serve as an adult learning in the evening. If that's something we work out with the city, but there's so much possibility with that. We've had we've all looked at different other school districts. We learn a lot from other school districts as well for ideas that we want to bring to Portsmouth. And looking at Smithfield and what they have with their welding in schools. And, we just looked at like bringing automotive here, welding, electrical, plumbing. So all of that, bringing some of that in-house to expand the number of students that can participate. And maybe removing some of the barriers that would prevent a student from being able to take that at TCC. We're very excited about that. We're very excited about that. Very excited that we have the funding to even do that. So that's a great thing for us. And we're looking forward to that opening in 2024. That's one of our big projects.
And Yolanda, that's going to be so crucial. So many of our students who are not book students, we're giving them something that they can put their hands on, they can touch, they can see, they can feel, and it may even cut down on some of the distractions that you're having in the school system, because they will be engaged in doing something that they know that they can do, they can learn, and they can go out and make a nice income.
Make a nice income. Absolutely. And we know that we have the industry for those jobs in this area. So they can make a great income as their own business owners, or, with shipyard, with the military, just different possibilities. And then I don't know, did you have Vice Chair Atkinson on last week? I can't remember. No. Okay. But there's an entrepreneurship program that Vice Chair Atkinson can talk about as well, that is going to just introduce and open up the idea of entrepreneurship to our students as well. So there's a lot of good things happening in Portsmouth that I'm very, very excited for.
Very good.
I have a question for you, though, is that on this money thing, going back to that, is are there any state grants, since this is a sort of a new program, that say this Confederate governor can, and Secretary of Education, who doesn't do a thing for anybody, send some money down here to help out with this program? And then the second question would be, can you explain the meaning of CTE, so those on the right won't and that it might be another one of these DEI programs that they're have their hair on fire. Anytime they get some initials, they want to throw something out there because, they have low bandwidth.
Oh, okay. So when you say the funding for the program, you're talking about for CTE or for dual language?
Dual language. Is there any grant there for it?
There was, like I mentioned, there was a funding grant that I know that Newport News received. I'm trying to look at the name of it right now. It's called, let me see, because I had an email about it. Let me see. Yes, there is a grant. I just can't think of the name of the grant right now. And your other question was about CTE, yes. Right? And I'll come back to that once I find my email about the grant. The CTE, Career Technical Education. So what most folks might refer to back in the day as VOTEC.
Yes.
You know, when you hear people saying, "Oh, we need a Votech school. We need a Votech school." Well, that's what we're getting. Okay. But the term now is CTE, Career and Technical Education. And we have CT, we have I encourage everyone to go to the Portsmouth Public Schools website. There's a section for career technical education on our website, and it lists all of our CTE programs. So we have partnerships with TCC, but we also have some in-house, including childcare, nursing. We have cosmetology, barbershop, so many. I'm sure I'm drawing a blank. Cybersecurity. We have a lot of different programs to help students get different certifications. I want to say it's TV production. I think we have TV production. So we have a large list of horticulture. Don't let me not forget the horticulture at church. So we have a large list of programs that we currently offer under career technical education. But the purpose of the DAC Center is to bring some of that all under one roof. So different schools host different programs right now. But we'll host like our welding and some of those programs that require like large workspaces that'll be built out of the DAC Center.
Mm-hmm. And we're still looking for instructors, especially in TCC, for those type like welders, pipe fitters, electricians, stuff.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to the staffing yet, but we will. Yes, we sure will. Yeah, we sure will.
So there's employment opportunities for those out there that have those skills.
Oh, that's a good point. Also, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
See where you're going with it. Yes.
Yeah, you see that? Well, we'll see. I got it going on, don't I? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We met some great doing our research. Like you got me looking up this dual language grant because I sent the thing. Here it is. I found it because I sent the email to the people a while ago. It's called, let me circle back to that. It's called it was a DODEA grant. I don't know if it's every year or every other year because it was by a certain congressman. So it's on the federal level, but I had researched to see how we could get it. But we didn't have the structure in place yet. So, but now that we do, I hope if it comes available that we will, let me not say hope, we will apply for it. So our board is our superintendent is aware of it and everything already. And our new director of curriculum instruction.
Which do you have which congressman put that out?
Let me see, because I have the attachment right here. Let's see. I will have to look. I'll give you that information. Yes, it's on dodeagrants.org. I don't know if that's still available. This was back in 2022 when I sent this email. Yeah, the link doesn't work anymore because that's when I sent this email. It's back in 2022. Okay. But I'm sure it'll come back around. I'll find out and I'll send you all the information.
Yolanda, I want to go back to the parenting thing just for a minute. Yeah. And most of the people you see, and I know as a school board member, you see the complaints that people make about the school system. And most of those people either don't have students in the school system anymore or never have. And I think you talk about how important it is, even beyond parents, for voters or citizens of the city of Portsmouth to also support the school system and the schools, and possibly if you grew up in Portsmouth, support the school that you graduated from, because what you're all doing and what the school system is doing is creating creating the future of our students and the future of the city as a whole. So I know you read the comments, but talk about how important it is for everybody to support the school and the system, the arts, the sports, and everything else, and be informed of what's going on with the schools, and don't just complain. If you see an area you see lacking, find out how you can help.
Well, I'll answer from this perspective. A few things. One, I need to do better about reading comments. I read every email. So if anyone ever sends me an email, I read every email, and to hear like any type of concerns or complaints or just frustrations. So I get I get people's frustrations, and a lot of time people feel frustrated when they've hit a roadblock, and or they just feel like their initial what they came to what they wanted to get help with or assistance with initially just was not followed up with. Maybe someone dropped the ball, and so that comes out in the form of what can be looked at as complaints. But I don't really get too, spun up or rattled about it. I think myself and any other board member, we just wanted to see, like, okay, what's going on, how can we assist. So as a board member, I will say that we if we hear something, then we do our best to address it. You asked me about the parent and like the importance of parents being involved. Is that what you were asking, Mr. Overton? The
Yeah,
importance of
well, not only the parents, but people in general,
and
because
people in the
there's a
community?
lot of people that complain about the school system but don't even have children in the
Oh,
system. And,
okay.
but it's, I think it's our responsibility, even if you don't have children in there, to at least try to support
Yeah,
what the schools are doing.
yeah, it takes a community. Like when people say
Right.
it takes a village, it definitely takes a village. You know, for I'm gonna start with the parents and then go to the village, right? So for parents, it is not easy. I know, like as a parent, busy mom, working mom, serving on the school board, my organizations, in Delta Sigma Theta, church, being there for my family and friends. It's a lot, and then you have homework, you have sports events, you have dinner to provide for, groceries, errands, all that, right? It is a lot. So for parents, I think the most important thing, for me, we work to provide for our children, but the thing that I think the most important thing that parents can do is just to spend that time. And it
Exactly.
doesn't have to be something I even have to tell myself. It doesn't have to be an extravagant weekend going away on a hotel trip or going away on vacation. It can be something as simple, something my younger son loves, that's in fourth grade, just playing a game of Uno. I'll play him in three rounds of Uno. Um, it just brightens their day, and it gives them the connection to be able to form that trust with the parent. We think our kids have to automatically trust us because we're their parents, but they don't. But they form that level of trust so that then they can always come to you when there's a problem, or they can come to you when they're not feeling, 100% themselves. They just know that you're the person that they can go to, all because you spent maybe 10 minutes with them, 10 minutes not distracted by your phone, 10 minutes not in front of your computer, 10 minutes not in front of the TV, just 10 minutes with them. And, I have more than one child. So sometimes it's not every day with each child. It might be the special day for one child that I know needs my attention. It might be with both of them and we're sharing
Mhm.
attention. But I think that the best thing parents can do is it's not the extravagant stuff. It's just the little stuff every day. And for parents of elementary students, because again, my youngest son was in kindergarten when COVID happened. So that's a crucial time. And I think COVID happened in March. Yeah, right. Everything shut down March
Mhm.
2020. So he was not even finished kindergarten. He didn't go back to school until second grade. That's when he was able to go back to school because schools reopened. So you got to think all of first grade is virtual. Think his level of reading and math, even though we work with him at home, I could tell the difference between the level of comprehension between him and my older son. So for parents of elementary students, or really, I would say the most important thing that I did, or me and my husband did, was to spend time reading with him. Um, Again, it doesn't have to be long. 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes. We waste 10 minutes scrolling on Facebook.
Mhm.
We waste 10 minutes like looking at YouTube. So I know I'm going on a rant, but as a parent, 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes of undivided attention a day. 20 minutes if it will be great, but 10 minutes I know we all can give to our children. Um, I think that just plays such an important role to that connection, and making sure we check in with our kids and they have that relationship with us. For the community, it's so much. Just go up to a school, volunteer, see what see what the teachers need. A lot of our teachers, they work so very hard. They're working very hard under strenuous conditions sometimes. They want the best. There's sometimes they're dealing with discipline issues in the class. So our teachers, just to know that the community is supporting them. And then our students too, they love to see bright community faces. Miss Lee, I know you work with the DARE program. So
yes,
I already know, like, our students, my mom, she she works as a tutor in one of the schools. And she loves, being like the grandma of the school with the class, and then it kind of bleeds some of the burden off of she can kind of do that one-on-one with the student that might need a little extra attention that they didn't get at home, right? So the community, we need community volunteers for our schools. You can join the PTA without having a student at the school. The PTA would love to have your fundraising dollars as well as your participation. And then, of course, supporting our high schools. Finding a student that might need a mentor, finding just going in there, kind of seeing what needs to be done. And then when we have activities or concerts, just showing up. It would just be so much. I know usually the students' families show up, but having the community show up would be great. So that's I went on a long rant.
No, that was very important. I think professionals that study human behavior will probably say the same thing, that's important for parents and the community to do for the school system to be successful.
And Yolanda, and it's so important that parents show up for academic events as well as they show up for athletic events.
Yes.
They all come out for the athletics, but if you have the academic events, you see fewer and fewer parents show up.
Yes.
And those children who are academically sound, they need the support of the parents and the community as well.
Absolutely. To your point, Ms. Leah, I'm going to call on the public. One of the best events I had the pleasure of attending last school year was our career signing day. So where our students, where they're signing up, they're signing their letters of, I forgot what it's called, but their letters to join the military. They're signing their letters to start their, first job at the shipyard. They've completed the CTE certification. They're getting their certification there. I hope that the public shows up for that. It's so exciting and just amazing to see the accomplishments for the students ready to take their next path in their career.
And would you inform us of the date so that we can let the public know the date of the event?
As soon as I know the date, yes, I will.
Yes. And I agree with you.
I will definitely post that. Yes. And provide it to you.
Thank you very much.
And
I guess it's
one
also safe to mention, James, at this time, Mr. Cordell Patillo is putting quite a few notes up here.
Oh, he might have
the great greyhound that he is.
He's singing your praises, telling them some of the other things that you do on the school board.
That Yolanda has played an instrumental role when she serves on the finance committee, and has played an instrumental role in ensuring that our staff compensation study has begun. And she's helped to get all of the staff on their proper staff.
Yes.
And she also serves on our CTE committee as well. So she's quite busy with the Portsmouth School Board.
Yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you, Chair Patillo. Look, learning from the best. But yes, I should mention that because the Colonel's been asking about money and funds. So one of our initiatives has been to, and I might have to grab my charger in a second.
You were the right person to ask that question. Knowing that now.
Yes, I'm on the Budget and Finance Committee along with our chair. I serve with Cardell on that committee. And for the board as a whole, I think it's 1 second. Let me grab my charger. My computer's going to shut down. Hold on. I think it's right here. I might have to move my computer for a second. Hold on. Okay.
Well, it's going to be, I must say, while she's getting her charger, there was an interesting program at Grove last night, Songs for the Soul, that featured the IC Norcom Choir and Norfolk State University Choir. It was a fantastic event. And it was an even special event to see the Norcom students singing a selection with the Norfolk State Choir. It was a beautiful event on yesterday evening at Grove Church, highlighting Norcom and NSU's choirs for Black History Month, and they did an amazing job. I'll get
Yeah,
back to you. I'm some space, holding up the space there until you return.
Oh, thank you. You did a great job. But so I'm going to go back to the compensation study to make sure our staff gets on their right step. That's been something, I mean, it was long before I got on the board that was a priority. And it's been important for us to make this happen so that we don't lose teachers to our surrounding districts, because we value each and every teacher that we have on staff and every staff member, from our cafeteria workers, our food service workers, maintenance, everyone. So it's important for us to make sure that we can get our staff on the right pay step. So the first step in that is to have a compensation study done so that we understand what is that number, what is the amount it's going to take to get everyone on the right step. And then we can come to city council with the request for that number. And, you know, on city council, I plan to fully support and prioritize that, because I understand, being on the board, the impact that has in retaining good staff. And retaining good staff allows them to work with our students better and allows us just to be better as a public school. So when you say you support education, making sure our staff get on the right step is supporting education. Exactly. Because we need to retain staff. And every district everywhere is having issues with retaining staff. So we need to do everything in our power to make sure that we retain teachers, staff, administrators, everyone. So finding out what that number is, however big or small, at least we will know the number, and then we'll know how to phase it out, phase it in, and start the request from the state and from our city to make sure that happens.
Wonderful.
You know, I got one thing. Yeah, you said retain, but the other piece to that, finding the right number, is to recruit.
Recruit, absolutely.
You can't get them in the door, you can't retain them. Absolutely, that's correct. Recruit and retain. Yes, absolutely. Yes, I'm a money man.
Yeah, coming from a former recruiter.
Yeah.
But we're going to run out of time, but I wanted to bring this up, and maybe we'll talk about it the next time you're on, about the ROTC programs in the school system. And I know the colonel would like that, because I remember when we were in the parade, the Norcom parade, I could see the look of pride on his face when he saw those ROTC cadets walking in the parade and everything like that. So I think that's important, because that's also a source of scholarship funding, you know, being a part of that program. And maybe next time we can talk about all the different sources or different places where people can seek out scholarships to go to college. And there's a lot of different areas. That's why, again, it's so important for us to support all those different programs that Leah mentioned, because all those programs, you know, that people are in, the extracurricular activities, can provide scholarships for them to go to school. It's not always sports scholarships or things like that. And we're not putting down sports, but it's a lot of different things that people, students are involved in, where scholarship opportunities are there. ROTC is one of them.
Yes, yeah. ROTC, going to the military is a great opportunity. My husband served in the Navy, and then he served in the Navy straight out of high school, and then went to college after serving in the Navy. And so having that GI Bill was just amazing. And so, yeah, I definitely think that's a positive that we should highlight.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're 8 o'clock, and if any co-hosts have any last minute comments?
Are you having fun? Y'all are fun to talk to.
Yeah, we always enjoy you too, because you're a good conversationist, and that's what we like here. That's what it's all about.
Makes it easy on us.
Okay, yeah. I love to talk. Okay.
Colonel was about to say something, though.
Go ahead, Colonel.
I got to bug out. Got to go pick up my granddaughter.
Oh, that's right. You did say that. Okay.
Yolanda, thanks for coming on. Very, and I'm glad that you're running and that you have you're going to expand, going from one job to the next job, and in support of and in service of the citizens of Portsmouth. What I would like to say is, I think we have talked about later as the election period gets a little closer to have a forum for those running for office, and so you may have to, and we'll have to talk to you about that, you and the other candidates later on about
Absolutely.
that. So,
I'm open for a forum. So yes, let me know when, and I will be available.
so we can ask the other questions.
Yes, the
Yes.
hard questions.
Yes.
Colonel,
Okay.
ask hard questions, Yolanda.
Ask the questions that really get you elected,
Yes,
because
yes.
it will expose who knows and who doesn't know.
Yes, I'm open to a forum
Right.
to answer questions about my vision and what for the city and the next step. So absolutely.
Yes.
I appreciate
Yolanda,
the time to talk about what's happening in the schools and dual language immersion. So
Mhm.
thank you so much.
Okay.
well,
So I'll
Yolanda,
see you. I'll get you on the rebound.
Bye.
All right.
I want to
Take care,
thank you
Colonel.
so much.
Okay.
See you, Colonel. I want to thank you so much for coming on. And I know when you proposed this, I was excited to hear about it because in my many travels to different countries and seeing these children who speak multiple languages, there's no reason why our children should not have that advantage as well. And so I was so thrilled to hear that, because the one thing that hurt me most when I took my daughter out of the little private setting that she was in and put her in public school, and she was no longer exposed to
Yeah.
another language. So it's important that we start these children early. And I'm glad that you took that initiative. You and your team and those who helped to bring it all to fruition, you took it, you ran with it, and you sat on it, and you birthed that baby. You helped to birth that baby. And now it's coming to fruition. So I think that's going to be a blessing to so many students. And it's going to be a larger blessing when we're able to ease it out into a larger part of the school district. So I'm just so thankful for all that you've done. It's just been amazing. And I just want to say I just thank you for
Thank
all
you,
that
Ms.
you've
Leah.
done for service to the city of Portsmouth. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Leah. That was really nice of you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I like to say, I think over the past years, there was some tension between or disagreements with school policy between the school board and the city councils of the past. And I think the change or the difference came when people made that transition from the school board, which is kind of natural to me, I think, to the city council, and then the relationship sort of got better. And you could see things happen, and it wasn't a big issue about funding and why you need the funding. So I think it's good when those transitions are made, and thanks for running. So we're going to have you back as a school board member, also, and as a candidate. So
Yes.
because we want to keep up with what's going on in the school system too, but there's probably still some things that you have to do before this year's out, because you like to complete everything. Right.
Yes.
And we need to reinforce the fact that she has completed her term.
Well, she will have completed.
She would have completed her term when she comes out to run. As people are asking that, Yolanda. That's why I keep putting it out there.
Okay. Yes, I have completed my term. I told you. People have to know I'm a stickler for completion. I'm a stickler for completion. Just because I'm a project manager, y'all. I can't help it. So I would either be running for school board, again, not running for anything, but I've decided to run for council because I do see the benefit of having the school board background, understanding what's the needs of the schools and the needs in education, and bringing that to the city to then have an impact in making sure we have funding for education in our city. So yes, Ms. Lee, I appreciate that feedback so that I can continue to let people know that, yes, this is my completion of my first term. This is my only term I served on school board, and I'm fully completing it. Yes.
Look, and being a project manager, hopefully if you get onto city council, you can help to guide the hands. You can follow this in a special way too. Carry it out
special way.
as a project. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
And
Absolutely.
let this be known too. I think it's 5 seats that are up
On the school board,
on the school board.
there are 5 seats, yes,
So
that are open for the school board.
quite a few incumbents are going, you know, and
There's
yours
quite a few
will be open. Yours will be
Mine will
open.
be open. That's correct.
Okay. Well, thanks again, everybody, and we appreciate you. And please join us our next show as we continue with Black History Month. And those of you who remember Seaview Beach, it might be a little, Yolanda, you don't know anything about that, but your parents do.
Okay.
Your parents do. Ask your parents about Seaview Beach.
Seaview
So
Beach.
we're going to talk about the history of Seaview Beach, which is a Black beach that was you know, we had to have it because we couldn't go anywhere else. So we created our own, and that's what it's all about.
Oh,
So
I can't
Ashley
wait to
Watts,
learn about that. Okay.
yes,
And
Ashley Watts will be coming on
it
from
made
the Watts
Ebony
family.
Magazine. Look, and it made Ebony Magazine and Jet Magazine as well.
Really?
Yes.
Let me know
Yeah,
when
it
you do a show in
was a big
Lincolnville
thing.
too. I've always been interested in Lincolnville and
Yes.
that community too.
Yes,
So
that's a
Seaview
good
Beach.
project too.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, that's something to cover too. So be sure to watch that. And take care, everybody, and we'll see you. And as always, be aware, be informed, and most of all, be involved. See you next time.
See you next time. Thank you,
Bye.
Yolanda.